Brian and Larry, great to have time with you again this morning.
Thank you. So it's 4 years ago, and we have a lot of grassroots conservatives and Republicans, Tea Party types. They're all knocking on doors, they're ringing doorbells. They want you to be governor of Virginia. You beat Cray Deeds. And let's not forget, Cray Deeds was he was the conservative alternative to crazy liberal Terry McAuliffe there, who was going to run on the Democratic side. And now here we are 4 years later. You pass this transportation bill, and you get on the phone and you congratulate and thank Terry McAuliffe for helping you get this passed. Is this the kind of thing that all those people knocked on doors and rang doorbells for back then?
Well, first of all, that's that's not right at all. But I do appreciate you having me on this morning to talk about the transportation bill, which is important to Northern Virginia. Terry McAuliffe called me. I did not call him. He called me after the bill passed to tell me. To congratulate me on having a transportation bill passed. It was about a minute-long phone call. But let me talk about the broader issue. I've had the real privilege of being governor for these last 4 years, and during that time we have done an enormous amount of things that have been helpful for the conservative cause. You know, we got the unemployment rate down to 5.5%. We have slashed the budget back to 2007 spending levels. We've passed major education reform of the pension system, enacted major new K-12 and higher ed reforms, all along our conservative principles. So this year I said, look, there's a few things that we have not done that are interfering with our ability to be a strong, competitive, vibrant state into the future. One of those was transportation. So I introduced a plan that was forward-thinking, that was creative, that was revenue-neutral, that used a significant amount of general funds in order to get the problem solved.
But you know, this was
the General Assembly got to solve the problem this year. So during the course of the process, obviously there were some changes made, amendments made, and now we have a final product. But here's the bottom line.
All right, what is the bottom line?
Let the road structure of this state collapse. Northern Virginia is the most congested region of the country. It's inhibiting our ability to create jobs. It hurts the quality of life. And so to all my friends, I would say that this is something that needed to be fixed. It needed to be addressed.
You know, of course, it's coming under a great deal of criticism, Governor, in some ways. I mean, it was passed, let's be honest, was passed with a great deal of Democratic support. I would say that Republicans were by and large split on this measure. So it lands on your desk because the Democrats backed you up on it. The Tea Party folks, we had Jamie Radke on the show yesterday, and she came after you with all guns blazing, saying this was a huge tax increase, and especially the people in Northern Virginia were going to get hit harder than anybody else. I want to give you the chance to respond to those specific statements.
Well, first of all, it was passed with more Republicans than Democrats. I think there were 44 Republicans that voted for it and 42 or 43 Democrats. So that is the fact. And it was actually passed with the majority of the Republicans in the conservative House of Delegates that is up for election this time. But there's no question. It was a bipartisan bill. We've had accomplishments in Richmond to show we're not like Washington. We don't finger point. We don't blame. We don't melt down like Washington does to fail to get things done for the good of the people. So this year, I would say that the bill that finally passed has got a significant amount of general funds. In fact, it's about $400 million out of the $880 that will be generated over in the fifth year. About $400 million are general funds. Now that means making transportation a core priority, and that means not spending money in other areas in the future. In fact, in the initial year of transition, the bill is almost just about revenue neutral for somebody who drives a gas-powered car. Now, it is true that in Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads, with the bill that came out of the conference committee, it is true that there are additional revenues that are going to be paid, and that is in response to the longstanding requests of people in Hampton Roads and Northern Virginia to have more resources so that they could build the roads that are necessary to address their problems. Here's the last thing that I would say that I think is really important, and I look back a little bit to other conservative leaders that what they've had to do with infrastructure. You know, in 1983, President Reagan signed a gas tax increase. It went from 4 cents to 9 cents. In other words, 125% tax increase in our gasoline tax at the federal level. And Reagan said that, look, it hadn't been raised in 23 years. We are not going to let our infrastructure crumble. People of America depend on this magnificent system for their quality of life, and therefore I'm asking people to pay a little bit more. So, I think that's the posture that we're in now.
All right.
We've got the most congested region of the country. We've fallen from first to third in the CNBC business rankings. And we just cannot allow our quality of life to deteriorate. So that's what the bill does, and I think it's going to help people for a long time in our state to improve their quality of life.
Governor McDonnell, and we do appreciate you coming on, as we have appreciated you coming on all these many years. The facts are that the Democrats would not allow this to be passed, the transportation bill, unless the final budget included a provision that allowed a small committee, a special committee of lawmakers, to authorize expansion of Medicaid in the state. This is what happens. See, they hold this thing over your head and say, give us this Medicaid thing, and then we'll give you the transportation bill. Your Attorney General and good friend Ken Cuccinelli said that is probably unconstitutional. Why did you agree to something that was unconstitutional just to get the transportation bill through?
Well, I think that's just completely inaccurate, first of all. I didn't connect Medicaid and transportation at all.
No, you didn't, but the Democrats. No, the Democrats did. They did. I mean, that's how it's been reported everywhere.
Yeah, but that's just not accurate. It certainly wasn't true at all in my mind. They asked me for a bit of language in the budget and whether in concept I would agree to it. Now, here's what that actually did. It's completely inaccurate to say that expands Medicaid. In fact, it does just the opposite. It creates a firewall against any Medicaid expansion unless there is dramatic reform. And that is the principle that I have said all along.
Right.
There cannot be any Medicaid expansion without dramatic reform, and that's what this does. We are not going to have Medicaid expansion in Virginia as long as I'm governor because we do not have reform in place. And so that's the language of the budget. I think it's been broadly misinterpreted by many who call that Medicaid expansion.
Governor, I just got to get one more question, and I'm sorry because we just have a second or two left. Very quickly, a voter photo ID bill is going to be on your desk. We're very interested in this topic. I just want to know, I know you got to look at it, but are you inclined to go with support of that bill?
Yeah, as you know, I signed the ID bill last year. I have not, honestly, gentlemen, I haven't had a chance to look at that one yet. That's going to undergo legal review as well by the Attorney General's office. I'm all for cutting down on voter fraud as long as we don't do anything that hurts the ability of people to actually get access to the ballot box.
Thank you, sir.
I've got it as one of 900 bills, gentlemen. I just haven't had a chance to review that yet, but I want to make sure that we have honest, clean elections with maximum integrity.
Listen, I just want to say, Governor McDonnell, we appreciate you being here. There are two governors whose offices are in the reach of this show, and Governor McDonnell knew that we had some issues with the transportation bill, and he came right on and took all of our questions, and we so appreciate it. Your counterpart over there in Maryland, not so much.
Yeah, all right.
All right, well, you'll appreciate it more in about a couple of years when you're getting to work in half the time.
All right, fair enough.
Thanks,
Governor Bob McDonnell, thank you for